Hello and welcome back to Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor Season 27, Episode 10, Fantasy Suites. Before we begin, please like and subscribe here at Whitney Alex Works for more recap videos just like this one. Alright, let's dive into Zach's Fantasy Suites date. With the final 3 women confirmed, Zach, Ariel, Gabby, and Katie all head to the country of Thailand to further their connections. And as this season is winding down, everyone is really excited to spend more time together. As yes, again, I'll praise production for separating the women this season, as other seasons didn't give them the common courtesy of that. Well, with Fantasy Suites coming for Zach and his remaining 3 women, Zach has decided that he is not going to be intimate with any of the women, as he thinks it's courteous for everyone involved, citing that an engagement is around the corner and he doesn't want to repeat last season's mess. Well, Zach doesn't specifically cite Clayton Echard at all, but really the trauma of last season's Fantasy Suite dates still lingers as Zach sets his own guidelines that he will abstain from getting intimate with anyone, as it could save him some serious drama in the near future. But host Jesse Palmer says Zach might get tempted, but Zach cites him just wanting to take a similar approach to former Bachelor Sean Lowe back in 2013. But let me just say, nobody likes a copycat, but really Zach isn't Sean Lowe and he shouldn't try to be. He should simply just try and be himself, but of course we'll see what happens with these Fantasy Suite guidelines. Okay, with Zach's boundaries set, his first Fantasy Suite date goes to Ariel. Ariel is so excited to spend more time with Zach as she has told Zach that she is falling in love with him and she is ready to continue their connection. These two have an adventurous date in Thailand where they ride around exploring and visit a late night market where they try some insects, which they compliment as really good. And these two are either kissing each other or feeding each other something as they both enjoy each other's company, as fire twirlers are entertaining them, as both acknowledge that they have an intense connection to each other. Next, we see Zach and Ariel head to a formal dinner portion of their date where Ariel tells Zach again that she is falling in love with him, which Zach responds with, "I can see a future with you." And they end up kissing, and then Zach invites Ariel to Fantasy Suites officially. Of course, Ariel says yes, but Zach opens up and explains his limitations about intimacy. Zach tells Ariel that he is waiting for the final woman to get intimate with, as this would resolve a lot of drama. And Ariel says that she didn't have any expectations about Fantasy Suites and hopes Zach can just enjoy this moment together. And despite the guidelines, they both then do seem to enjoy each other's company as they make out in a private pool, and well, editing makes it seem like Zach is about to break his self-induced Fantasy Suite guidelines at any moment. In the morning, we catch up with Zach and Ariel, and Zach makes sure to tell the audience that he stayed true to his guidelines and did not get intimate with Ariel, but these two appear to have furthered their connection anyway, as Ariel says she can see an engagement with Zach. The next Fantasy Suite date for Zach is Gabby. Before this date, we saw Gabby in her room kind of freaking out about her upcoming date with Zach, as she really wants to share her true feelings, but she admits she is in her head. And by the time Gabby and Zach meet up, Zach tells Gabby that they are going to spend the day enjoying a private island together. They then travel to a beautiful private island, and despite having a great time so far, Gabby is still apparently in her head. And eventually, Gabby's inner turmoil spills over and she shares her doubts with Zach, feeling like since it's been some time since she's last seen Zach, she is in her head that she is the second Fantasy Suite date and she is concerned about being chosen second. And she ends up walking away and getting emotional as Zach eventually comes over and checks on Gabby's well-being. Gabby then shares her concerns about trust, and in her last relationship, she dealt with infidelity, and she gets emotional as emotions are, of course, at an all-time high. Zach comforts Gabby, and he wants to support her, and they end up getting even closer as Gabby is glad she opened up about her doubts, and after being reassured, she is hopeful she can continue to open up to Zach. And then these two head to the formal dinner part of their date, where Zach tells Gabby that she is worthy of a trustworthy love, and Gabby then opens up and tells Zach that she is falling in love with him. And Zach kisses Gabby and invites her to the fantasy suite, but makes a point to tell her about his guidelines, and Gabby is a bit confused but accepts. And these two take a boat ride to a pretty exotic suite where the room is above water, and they end up making out where, again, Zach is being tested in the intimacy department. And in the morning, Zach and Gabby seem happy and content with each other as they eventually say goodbye. And then Zach opens up to the cameras about what occurred in the fantasy suites with Gabby, and he confesses that he broke his guidelines and got intimate with Gabby. And well, he is crushed only because he broke his own self-induced guidelines and he went against his own word. But he says he has zero regrets about getting intimate with Gabby, but he feels bad about facing the consequences of what happened. Well, now what? That's what we're asking as Zach deals with the emotional turmoil of going against his own guidelines. And we then see Katie, who's really excited to see Zach, but Zach is actually headed to see Gabby, who is happy to see Zach again, but he lets Gabby know that he wants to be transparent with the other relationships about what happened between them, and this makes Gabby concerned as she was hoping that Zach would keep that part private. But Zach then tells Gabby that he is falling in love with her, and then they kiss, but it's kind of confusing as Gabby then tells the camera that she felt blindsided and her trust was broken. And then we see Katie, who is still super excited to spend more time with Zach after hometown dates, and they meet up where they spend the day exploring a mangrove forest where they paddle together as they explore, but Zach's doubts are creeping up, and when it starts to rain, it seems like a sign of trouble, but Katie says she likes the rain, but when they sit down to talk, Zach opens up about what occurred with his guidelines and how he was intimate with another woman. And this, of course, stuns Katie as she felt like Zach didn't need to share this with her, but Zach wanted to be honest and fully transparent about the entire situation they are all in, and Katie is crushed as she admits she is not happy about what she heard, and the vibe between these two is now tense as things got weird, and a brewing silence is deafening as Katie walks away and is pretty upset as she isn't happy about hearing what happened this week. And with this big unknown now between these two, it seems like there is a great chance that Katie might exit stage left, but when it's time to meet back up, editing makes it look like Katie isn't going to show, but she does, and they have a conversation about what feels like a day in which they regressed. But Zach says he doesn't want any secrets between them, and Katie gets real as she does let Zach know that after some time reflecting, she has decided that she can move forward with Zach, and she still feels confident in what they have with each other. They end up kissing, and Zach invites her to the fantasy suite, which they're already in, and all of a sudden these two are back on and seemingly stronger than ever. And with all three fantasy suites completed, it's time for the next rose ceremony where Zach has to send one of these women home. And while the women come in one by one, Zach knows that he has to make another difficult decision. Zach arrives and talks to Jesse, who gives him a boost of confidence, telling him that being honest with the women is only going to get him closer to finding the special one. With only 2 roses to give out, Zach calls out Katie's name first, and then he calls out Gabby's name, which means that Ariel is heading home after after Fantasy Suites. Zach walks out Ariel, who takes the breakup pretty maturely and wishes Zach the best as she tells Zach that he made it easy to open up to him. And with Ariel heading home, Zach's final two are Gabby and Katie, but Gabby is still concerned about being singled out for breaking Zach's own guidelines as she's starting to doubt everything again. And that's it for the Fantasy Suites episode of Zach Shallcross's season of The Bachelor. Thank you for watching Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor season 27 episode 10. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more videos in the future. See you next week for the season finale where Zach has to choose his final pick and possibly get down on one knee to propose.